I wanted to do this live, and this is going to be a little bit different, guys, because I want to talk a little bit about some things that we need to be mindful of avoiding this year for our own well-being. And this is going to be talking more about the mindset side to life, number one, and to finances, number two. So this will be slightly different, but hopefully you'll get some benefit out of this. You'll get some value out of this as well. So how did this come about? This came about because I posted a reel on Instagram 2 days ago, and it's garnered quite a lot of conversation. And it was about this headline right here. Let me just share this with you about this headline right here. So, Jermaine Pennant, he used to play for Liverpool, Stoke, and I think he used to play for Arsenal as well, declared bankrupt. Declared bankrupt. He owes over £1 million in debt to creditors, right? Now, ex-Premier League footballer, now completely and utterly broke. And this is not the first time that we've heard these kind of stories, right? We hear stories about ex-Premier League footballers constantly being broke. We've heard stories about, people in entertainment who have earned a lot of money going broke, declaring bankruptcy. And according to this little survey that I found right here, it actually says that over 40% of footballers, once they retire, actually declare bankruptcy after they finish playing. And it leads to this bigger question of, well, why is that? Is that because they mismanage their money, or is it because they simply just, I don't know, what is it exactly? Because you would assume that anyone who's able to play football earn a shed load of money, like superhuman levels of money on a weekly basis. You would automatically think that they will have their affairs in order when it comes to their finances. But that is so far from the truth. And it's actually quite nuanced in itself, because in my time, I have actually worked with some footballers, and it's amazing how they find the difficulty between playing football and the transition into ordinary life. You have to remember, some of these guys who are earning, 30, 40, 50,000 pounds, back in the days when Jermaine was playing, it's still a lot of money, but they can't exactly retire and go and get a normal job. Most of them don't. I know a few that have, but most of them don't. They don't feel as though they can. And one of the comments on Instagram kind of really summed it up for me. The comment was along the lines of, it's stupidity. Surely they have advisors. And the reality is that a lot of these guys, they're like normal people. They are normal people, but they earn superhuman levels of money. And as normal people, they don't trust advisors. And in some cases, Alan Shearer is a prime example. They get an advisor, and the advisor actually rips them off. The advisor takes advantage of them. You then also have to bear in mind social economics and demographics of where these guys typically come from. I think this is very, very common amongst Premier League footballers, that once they get to the point where they're earning quite a lot of money, and I'm talking, modern day levels of money, £100,000, £200,000 a week. And Micah Richard has spoken about this, of his journey earning money through Manchester City, going from £5,000 a week to £50,000 a week. You think about where they've come from. They have friends, they have family who are in poverty, and they find themselves earning astronomical amounts of money. Not only does it come with the pressure of, okay, I need to look after my people, my friends, my family, but also this new familiarity with something completely out of this world that was unimaginable to start off with. And that can lead to, number one, mismanagement of funds. It can lead to what we all do: lifestyle creeping, right? Buying a better car, buying a bigger house, shopping at nicer places. And this really leads us on to that. I want to talk about three things that we need to stop this year in order that we're able to make sure that we do the best for ourselves when it comes to our own well-being. And the first one is not having a plan for your money. I've spelt things wrong there, but I'll correct a bit later on. Anyway, not having a plan for your money. Really, really big mistake. Now, if you look at the likes of footballers, there are lottery winners who have won 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 million quid who are still broke. And what does this all come down to? It comes down to the fact that there is a fundamental principle that we don't get taught in school that is crucial to how successful we're going to be with our money and our intentions when it comes to money. And that thing I always speak about is boring. It's the B word, is budgeting. For some reason, and I used to do this, right? I used to think, well, I'm not earning a lot of money now. It's difficult to budget, but I'm sure when I start earning more money, I'll be able to budget a little bit better. And the truth is, that's not how it works. If you cannot budget with £100, there is no way you're going to be able to budget when it comes to you now earning £1,000, £2,000, £3,000, £4,000. And so not having a plan for your money it is the cardinal sin. And this is where we talk about mindset. And this is one of the things that I'm really, really passionate about. If anyone's ever taken any coaching with me, I focus a lot on goals. I focus a lot on mindset. I focus a lot on why. Because we need to have a really good fundamental understanding of what we're doing all this thing for, right? Why do you go to work 9 to 5? Is it to earn money? Is it to get up every morning, go to a job that you probably hate, with people that you probably hate, and answer to a boss that you probably hate, only never to use the money that you earn in that job to further your own agenda into the things that you actually want to aspire for? This is a really, really big point. And I think it's very, very easy. And I know that I've done this for years and years and years in my past. It is very, very easy to get caught up in the rat race and you just lose sight of the important things, your why, what drives you, what you're aspiring for, what you're working towards. And not having a plan, just put up the wrong one, not having a plan for your money is the cardinal sin. And this year, if you want to start progressing towards your goals, this has got to be one of them. I say this a lot. I've said it on the podcast, I've said it here on the channel, I've said it over on YouTube. Most of us will have goals around our business, our career, our fitness, but how many of us actually have financial goals to go alongside some of our life goals? Because let's be honest, most of the things that you will want to do in life will require money of some kind. So not having a plan, not being clear on your why, is something that we have to stop doing. We have to be clear. And look, the best way of doing this, grab 5 minutes. Grab 5 minutes and think about where you want to be 12 months from now. Write that down and hold yourself accountable, or better yet, find an accountability circle for this. I mean, this is what we're going to be doing in the workshop on the 24th of Jan. We've got 25 people signed up into this. We're going to be setting our goals for the next 12 months together, and we're going to be holding each other accountable through this here so that we can look back at this in January 2024 and look at the progress that we've made. But we need to stop not having a plan for our money in 2023. This is the second thing. Making emotive financial decisions. So it is very, very easy for us to pay attention to news, for us to get caught up in social media, to get caught up in hype, right? And start making decisions that are based on emotion versus logic. Let me give you an example of this right now. So if you follow me on Instagram, you probably remember around about December the 6th, December the 7th or so, I was driving back from pack lunch. It was a Tuesday. A car, whilst I was supercharging, reversed into my car whilst I was supercharging. Slight damage to the bumper. Going through the insurance at the moment, and it looks like my car is going to get written off next week. I've had my car for 6 years. I put a lot of miles on it, and it turns out, well, a new bumper is, well, it's likely going to be uneconomical to repair. So they are likely going to write off my car next Wednesday. I've got an assessor coming out to come and view it. So what have I been doing right now? Over the past couple of days, and I've had to catch myself thinking about this. I'm quite attached to my car. I paid it off 2-3 years ago. It's not on finance. I own it. I love it. It's great. I've enjoyed it for the past 6 years. Now I'm a little upset. I'm a little upset that potentially my car's going to get written off. They're going to give me what they feel is market value for the car. We're going to negotiate. But the reality is, it's going to be very, very difficult for me to walk into another Tesla based on the amount of money that they're going to give me for the car based on current market value. So what that means is, for my own personal financial point of view, I now either have to dip into cash reserves or finance a small amount of money to get back into an equivalent car. Now, the emotive side of my spending and my train of thought here is, well, actually, why don't I just go for one of the newer ones with the fresh technology, quicker charging speeds, all this kind of stuff, right? Seems very, very attractive. But logically, I want to keep the cost down. But I have that emotive attraction to getting into something brand new, getting into something shiny, getting into something that I guess for me will be an upgrade, right? Emotive spending in certainly for me has never ever really paid dividends. And this is something you need to be very, very acutely aware of. It takes time. You have to understand yourself. You have to know how you work in order to be able to identify it. I personally right now don't actually know what I'm going to do. I don't know whether I am going to jump into something new. I have the ability to potentially buy this via the business. So it means that it's not coming out of my own personal pocket. It helps me reduce my corporation tax. It's also going to be a business expense as well. There is that option on the table. But then my own personal circumstances also cloud the potential outcome of this, because I might be moving later on this year. So is it the responsible thing to do? I don't know yet, but I have this emotional reaction to the fact that my car might get written off, which has a financial repercussion. I have to spend some of my own money. Now, I've worked for this money. I've got it sat aside. It's money that I was going to be using to chuck some into the markets. Now it feels like I'm going to have to spend some of that on a car to get me from A to B, and it feels like a little bit of a waste. But because I go into London, I want to stay electric. I want to avoid congestion charges. I'm in London quite a bit. So I have this emotive, logical battle in my mind. And it's really important to capture that. It's like I said, I don't know what I'm going to do just yet, but I know the decision has to be made relatively shortly. So I guess the challenge here is, to try and catch yourself when you're making decisions, and it is likely that the decision that you're going to make has an element of an emotive side to it. And knowing how to actually just spot it and be able to control it. I want to play you this clip because this clip is really, really important. It's going to speak to the third point that I actually want to make on this slide. Let me just make sure I get this ratio right here. Let's get that right here. If anybody knows this gentleman, you might know actually. Do you know? Actually, let me know in the comments. Do you know who this is? Do you know who this is? This is I used to do music many, many years ago. Production wise, this guy, he had a fabulous time. But let's listen to what he says in this clip right here, because it's actually quite important.
When you say you was broke, was you had like $0 broke?
I had to borrow money to get my kids Burger King.
Wow.
Yeah.
After having, what's the most you ever had in the bank at one time?
40 million.
You have a headline. $40 million to zero.
Yeah, it was a lot of bad investments. A lot of things.
What did you invest in that didn't work for $40 million?
Real estate.
Real estate.
Yeah, and my manager do it, and he was way more optimistic than I was. He would just buy complete dumps and think that we can just paint, and then we should be.
He didn't
fine.
know what he was doing.
When you say you
Right, so there you go, right? So look, the more of the story here is TPain. Somebody got it right in the comment section. TPain. I used to listen to this guy all the time. Great producer. Absolutely amazing producer. I used to love this guy. Really, really love this guy. But anyway, he lost $40 million. This is through mismanagement of money. This is through allowing other people to make financial decisions for him. This is him relying on other people to make investments on his behalf. And this is the third thing that I think we need to stop this year. And this is difficult. This is where you need an element of know-how and an element of expertise in order to make the best decision. I've always said this, look, YouTube should always be a research tool, right? Research so that you can make the best decision or the best option so you can whim down to something that works for you. But especially with us moving into a recession, especially with the economy globally looking the way it's going to look, we have so many issues with inflation. We've got so many issues with potential unemployment blowing up, interest rates. There's a lot going on. You should not rely on others for your investments, for your investment choices, for your investment decisions. It's really, really important that you educate and get a really good understanding of the land, how it lies, and the know-how that you need in order to make a good decision for you. Again, this is easier said than done. I completely and utterly appreciate that. But I do know that there will be people who are invested right now that maybe did rely on other people to stock pick, to make a decision on where they're going to invest over the past couple of years. And that may put them in a position right now where actually they wish that they had probably taken a little bit more time to, I guess, do the research and really marinate on the decision that they made, and opposed to this FOMO culture that we've had over the past 2 years. This is really, really important. And I have to say that now because particularly in the environment where we are right now, people will still be telling you, that this is an opportunity to invest. And yes, it absolutely is. But the important thing is you do what is going to help you sleep best at night. If you can't stomach the risk, that's completely fine. You don't have to invest at any given point. There is no right time to invest, particularly if you don't understand risk, so you don't understand exactly what it is that you're doing. So bide your time, try and make sure that you have a really good understanding of what's going on, and try and make a decision that is best going to work for you. So those are the 3 things. The third one, don't rely on others for your investments. Don't continue to make emotive financial decisions. Like I said, this is probably the really, really big one, because this is harder to contend with than others, because this is very much you're fighting here. You're fighting your own, I guess, inner demons, and you will always find a rationale to persuade yourself to do something when in the back of your mind it's not the right thing, or maybe not the perfect thing to do. I can speak from experience when I say this, because I've done so many stupid things whilst convincing myself it was the right thing, and when in deep down I knew that it wasn't. And the first one, or should I say the third one, because I started from the last one, not having a plan for your money. This is really important. This is all about understanding what your goals are for the next 12 months and using your money as a tool to help you get there. Really, really important. I hope you found value in this, guys. I know this is very, very different. This is more about mindset and habits and stuff, but this is a really important proponent to being good with money, creating financial security. And I will be talking a lot about this through this year, because when I look back over my journey, I've got a lot of this stuff locked down, or as locked down as it can be. And it is a battle sometimes. You're never going to get it perfect. I don't have it perfect, but I know what things to look out for, to question myself, to see whether I'm making the best logical decision. And sometimes your emotive side, your brain, logic sometimes does go out the window, and that's okay, as long as you can justify it. That's the most important thing. I do have an announcement which should have gone out today, but I've been told that it has to go out tomorrow. There are some things that are outside of my control. So I will put a video out tomorrow morning with a big announcement, and I will probably do a live, maybe tomorrow evening as well, to answer some questions and talk a little bit more about it, because I'm sure there'll be lots of questions, and there are certain things that will be announced tomorrow. Well, that will be included in this announcement, which I think will be very, very important for the course of the channel this year as well. But I appreciate every single one of you for watching. It is Thursday. It feels like Friday. Why does it feel like Friday? But I appreciate you. I'll speak to you tomorrow. And yes, big day tomorrow.